season premiere of History of Black Gay America, where we encourage you to know your history and know your heritage. And like I told you before in the last break, that we're going to be coming back with a special interview with the legendary founder of NAESM Incorporated, Brother Rudolph Carn, and I'm sitting right next to this legend. So glad to have you. We've been wanting to interview you for a minute. So glad to have you on our show, man. Thank you for having us to be a part of your 30th anniversary of not just NAESM, but also annual leadership conference and everything. So for those of you that are watching, we kind of going to get into a little testimony services right now, because this brother has a testimony. He's come a mighty long way, man. And I remember, because I'm born and raised in Atlanta, and I remember, I think when I first saw you, we didn't know each other officially, but I was one of those back in the day, because I'm high school class of '89. Okay. And my first club experience, of course, was the Marquette Lounge back in the day.
Yes. Which one? The one on MLK?
Yeah, the original one.
Oh, okay. The one up the steps?
Yeah, the one, the original.
That's the original one.
Yeah, well, you had to go, they had 3 levels.
Right.
Yeah, right down the corner of MLK and Ashby.
Right.
You know, so it's been a long time, and I think I had a chance to just run past you then, but back then, I didn't know that you was going to create such a legendary movement and organization such as NAESM. So, and I know that you've had some ups and downs and some challenges in getting this vision off the ground, being a visionary myself. So tell us a little bit about your testimony, and first of all, for our audience that don't know, what is NAESM, the services that you all provide, and then we're going to go into your testimony of what was the inspiration behind starting the organization. Let's start.
Okay. The services, it's been a long time. I retired in 2013.
Wow.
But of course, you do prevention, and I don't think they do housing. And I'm trying to remember all the services they did. I'm trying to remember housing, prevention, HIV testing, and then recently we opened a clinic in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, 19, yes, we have a men's health clinic.
Gotcha.
But I'll go over the history and just sort of bring up to date what we do.
Gotcha. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration in creating this organization, because I know during that time, especially down here in the Confederate South, there was really no organizations really reaching out to people of color that was dealing with the epidemic and stuff. So tell us a little bit about your testimony.
Do you remember Edna Brown, transgender?
Yeah.
Was Loretta.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar, yes.
Right, Edna Brown. I met Edna at the National Gay and Lesbian Leadership Conference. I think when it was in LA, I forgot what city it was in. I met her. I was actually in LA. Okay. And we became friends, and she kept asking Rudy, when you come to Atlanta and help us do something like gay men. So she harassed me for about 3 or 4 years. So finally, in 1989, I came back to Atlanta.
Wow.
And it was Edna that started, introduced me to everybody. Our first supporter was Philip Booton from Trax.
Yeah, from Trax,
It was the Ritz.
I know that's what it, yeah, I remember that upstairs, yeah.
It was on Monroe at the that main street down, yeah, so it was.
On Marietta Street?
No, that was Trax.
Yeah, that was Trax.
Ritz is on.
The Ritz is, it was on Marietta Decatur. Decatur Street, right upstairs.
Right.
Because I worked in the kitchen part-time doing 93, sure did.
Okay. So Edna finally convinced me to come back. And we started the agency actually I came back in '89, we started in 1990 in November. And so Edna really was the inspiration.
Wow.
But when I lived in LA, we went to funerals at least once a week. People don't realize, especially the younger generation, how people were dying.
Absolutely.
In the 80s. And it was really devastating. And I worked at Minority Ace Project also. So when I came back in 1990, Ed and we initially went around talking to agencies and talking to people. She actually introduced me to people because I left Atlanta in 1980 when I went in the military. Okay. And so she introduced me to everybody, and so we started we got the concept. It's actually in my aunt's living room. The original 3 board members were myself, Edna, and May Reed.
Wow.
And unfortunately, in December of '90, Edna was killed.
Wow.
And somebody killed her. So that really put a strain on, making the organization go. And so in January, I was actually a nurse, and I decided if I'm going to do this full time, I have to stop working. So I actually stopped working in '90, and I think our first funding was in 1992, I think it was, from the Fund for Southern Communities.
I remember that organization.
And then after that, it was the Georgia Department of Human Resources. Ironically, our first client was a black female.
Really?
In Conyers, right. This
Wow.
lady, she called me, her sister was dying. She had 2 small kids, she didn't know what to do with the kids, so I helped them get Social Security for the kids. So, actual black heterosexual was our first client. Because I think she found, that's when they had 411, call information. And she found the agency, she called me, and I wasn't going to turn her down.
Of course.
But initially we started out doing club outreach at the Ritz, the Marquette, was the Palace back then? I'm trying to remember the Palace.
The Palace didn't come to after the Olympics.
Yeah.
A little bit during and after the Olympics.
Yeah, okay, so not tracks, the Ritz.
Yeah.
Was really our first venue. I got a chance to meet Naisha. And Naisha, Alicia Kelly, and what was the other one name?
Eat your heart out, yo.
Misha Black.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
All
so
of them.
Yeah, they did original fundraisers for us. Me and Naisha, I go way back.
Wow.
So of course, moving forward, Ruby Hardy worked at the state health department. She actually was the first one that gave us condoms to give out and stuff. So we started really just giving out condoms. And of course, when you give out condoms, people are going to present other issues.
Absolutely.
Housing came up and all kind of other stuff. So we started a housing program in, I think it was 95. We had a housing program for black gay men. And our first client there was actually a transgender. What's her name? Oh Lord, she's in the book. Oh Lord, it just skips me. But she was our first client, transgender client at the house.
Wow.
So it sort of evolved from the prevention, then housing, right down. I'm trying to think. I know they still do prevention. They still do housing. They still do outreach. Outreach has sort of changed from when we did it in the early days.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about that. From the time that this was pre-technology.
Right. Yeah.
Where everything was more
There was no
grassroots.
cell phone. There was no cell phone.
Manual labor.
No Facebook.
None of that.
Yeah.
So y'all had to do a whole lot more paperwork,
Right.
than you have to do now when things are a little bit more streamlined now and everything like that. So I can imagine the challenges having to deal with that, doing it the manual way. Absolutely.
Well, it worked. That's the technology way. It's sort of different. Yeah. And then unfortunately we don't get the same, from talking to the staff, they don't get the same support from the club promoters we did. Because all the clubs, they welcomed us in, they let us give condoms out and stuff like that. But now I guess it's a different generation. But yeah, I never forget David. And Philip, of course. But yeah, it's hard to believe it's been 30 years. It really has.
I can't even, just 30 years ago, I was in my late teens, early 20s, still trying to find myself. Wow, so it's just remarkable just to look back over the years and to see how far you all have come. And even with your personal testimony to our young people that's listening, because are you originally from Atlanta? Or you originally from the West? You're from New York.
Yeah, I moved down here in '77 when I finished undergrad school.
Oh, awesome.
And then I left and went in the military 3 years later. But no, I'm originally from New York.
You're originally from New York. How was your, because I can imagine back in the day being a black gay man, how was your coming out experience back then?
It was different. When I first moved here, there was, I know you probably don't, you from it, you remember, Backstreet.
Yeah.
I never forget, we went to Backstreet, and I was with some friends, and the guy said, we don't let niggas in here. I looked around, I said,
What?
excuse me? And
I heard the story.
And he said it again. I jumped on it. Then my friends had to pull me off of it.
What?
It was, I've heard about the South, but to actually experience it when I came here,
Wow.
it was ridiculous. It really was. And the thing about it, they wouldn't let us in the club. What we'd have to either wait to go in with a white person,
Yeah.
or go into the club before it opened and sit and wait until it opened.
Wow.
It was, and I asked people, I said, why y'all put up with that? It's like, there was a few small clubs in the 70s when I came, but it wasn't, of course they didn't have the money or technology to do what the big clubs did.
Absolutely.
So it was Backstreet, there was another one called, it was in Peachtree Battle. I forgot the name of it, what it was called.
Oh, that was a gig club over in the area?
As you go down the hill. I don't know what it's called, a compound or something. Anyway, same thing happened.
Wow.
We all let niggas in here, and it's like, I got into so many fights. I really did. And I asked my friends, I said, y'all actually deal with this stuff? Y'all let them call you the N-word? And this is way of life. We go, no. Come from New York now. That don't work for me.
Definitely, because I know during the time, because I know that you was in New York right at the beginning and the ending of the Stonewall riots and everything.
But I wasn't out there.
You wasn't out there.
I really didn't come out until I moved to Atlanta.
Wow.
I had no idea gay clubs existed in New York until I came to Atlanta, and I went back with friends of mine.
Wow.
So I never knew the warehouse existed. None of that club. But I wasn't out in New York. So,
wow.
So I wouldn't have known that community. I always said if I would have come out in New York, I probably would never came to Atlanta.
Wow.
I probably would have never, because New York was the place to be in the 70s.
It was, yes.
You know, so.
I mean, New York is the foundation of the LGBT movement,
Right.
of course.
Yeah, but yeah, Atlanta was, but I've seen Atlanta change over the years. But yeah, it was sort of rough back then. And the same thing with around HIV stuff. Not to say anything bad about anybody, but when we first started the agency, Ed and I, we talked to the agencies that was around them. That they didn't see black gay men as an issue. They told us that. So my idea, and that we weren't really to start another agency. We wanted to tack on to somebody else that didn't want to go through that, but nobody wanted to do it. Back in the 80s or in the early 90s or 80s, nobody wanted to do stuff with black gay men. It wasn't important. We wasn't the issue. I'll never forget. I was at a Ryan White meeting. I think it was a Ryan White meeting in Decatur. I'll never forget, this black woman came and told me, she said, Rudy, she said, you're dreaming. They will never give money to a black agency. She told me that. She said, they will not give any money to anything with black gay men. That's what she told me. But that was the mindset back then. It was hard for us to get money, specifically for black gay men. Of course, they gave money, but they didn't want to, emphasize or focus on black gay men. So I'm happy to see the change. There's still a lot of work needs to be done. But back in those days, we weren't a priority.
And it's very important to those of you that are listening, especially our young generation, when we talk about racism within the LGBT community, a lot of you all think it's just on just one level. It was on multi-levels, especially during the time. And you would think that with the struggle that the LGBT community as a whole was going through, you would think that would not exist within that movement, but it did then, and it still does in some ways now.